Hello, my name is Mrs. Lindeman and I am the 6th grade teacher at St. Paul's. The 6th grade capstone project is a culmination of a year-long learning which helps students to strengthen their faith and make a commitment to lifelong learning.
My favorite experience in Washington, D.C. was getting to see the Vietnam Wall because it is really special to my family because my mom's friend's dad was in Vietnam and he died before she was born. So we got his name off the wall for her and we're gonna give it to her.
I like the Vietnam Women's Veterans Memorial because the men, they thought they were just gonna be the dumb nurses and stuff, but it hit me like, whoa, they weren't there to help themselves. They're there to be appreciated and help us in the Vietnam War.
My favorite experience in Washington, D.C. was the National Archives because it was so amazing just to see all of the documents that our country has been founded on and is still running on today. And so I just loved it.
My favorite experience in Washington, D.C. was when we went to Arlington Cemetery. And it spoke to me because if you look out, you can see all of those gravestones. They were all someone who helped make our country a free and safe place for all of us to live. And I mean, I just think that is so amazing just to be there and be in their presence.
My favorite memory would be going to the FDR Memorial because you could really feel what the president was going through and what the country was going through at that time. And when you walked through the different sections of the memorial, you could really feel how the country was changing.
My favorite experience was probably getting to see the World War II Memorial because in 6th grade we all did a project on it and we had to build a little replica of it, and I had the World War II Memorial, so it was fun to see what I was off on and how close I was to the actual thing.
My favorite part of my capstone experience in Washington, D.C. was the American Disabled for Life Veterans Memorial because it was really calming and there's 3 or 4 walls and it has lots of different pictures of veterans and quotes that they made of their experience of being disabled.
My favorite experience in D.C. was probably the Supreme Court because I really liked the law and all that kind of things, and that was really cool for me to see.
My favorite part of Washington, D.C. was probably the Lincoln Memorial. We got to see it at night and just the lights on Abraham Lincoln. It was cool. His hand spelled out AL and there's a secret face on the back, and it was cool. And it also had a good view of the Washington Monument, and just Washington, D.C. in general was awesome.
I liked Mount Vernon the most because George Washington lived there. It was a very big house for back then, and I also learned a lot from the tour guides for telling me all the facts.
My favorite experience in Washington, D.C. was going to the Vietnam Women's Memorial. I really liked going there because it was the start to women's jobs, and it gave me kind of a feel for what our world would be like without women doing their jobs.
My favorite part of my capstone experience was definitely the Vietnam Veterans Memorial Wall. I really appreciated it because my grandpa was in Vietnam during the war, and I made a rubbing of a man who lived in the town where my grandparents lived, where my mom grew up, and he left while his wife was pregnant, and he never came back, and my mom knew the man's son.
My favorite part of the DC trip was the Iwo Jima Memorial. First of all, because it's awesome, and
I've always liked it as a kid, and I have a deep, deep respect for all veterans who served. Second of all, I like it because it's a lot bigger than I thought it was. Like, you see pictures that are like far off, and it looks like it's small, and it's not, it's really big.
My favorite part of Washington, D.C. was the Disabled Veterans Memorial for Life because the quotes were on the walls were so positive, and it's cool that even though they're disabled for life, they're still happy. My favorite part of the Washington, D.C. experience was the Lincoln Memorial because I liked the view of the Lincoln Memorial because you could go to the back of the Lincoln Memorial and see JFK's eternal flame from the back, and we saw it at night, so you could see it pretty well. And I also liked the view of the Washington Monument from the front of the Lincoln Memorial, and I like seeing how big the Lincoln Memorial was up close. It was just really cool. My favorite part of Capstone was probably laying the wreath at the unknown soldier. That was such an honor because this man was fighting for our freedom, and his name is known to none but God.
Thank you for watching the 6th graders' testimony to their learning this year. The Capstone Project enables St. Paul's to graduate students who are informed and who are committed to being citizens of this great country.